Regular investors flip the switch on XRP before banks and institutions. Wow, we're going to get into this and you're going to be pretty excited, especially being a holder of XRP. You're really going to like what you see here. It's kind of an encouraging video today. Stick with us till the end. I think you'll enjoy it. Before we get going, we're going to talk about BTCC and the decent wallet. So we'll be right back. Here's the site, BTCC. You can scan this link. Look at this. This is money I've made in the past. Do you see these percentage of returns? Look at that. Now here's from the other day. It's really easy. If you believe XRP is going to be greater than the price it is that you're looking at the moment on the site, then place a trade and wait. Then when it's worth more, cash it out. It's actually that simple. Scan the link, experiment inside using the demo account, and see for yourself that it's easy to make 100, 200, 500 extra dollars every single day. Yes, it's possible. I'm doing it, and I'm not bragging. I'm just saying this is something you can do. So I'm not giving investment advice, but check it out for yourself and see if it's something that you feel like would be a good thing for you. Also, check out the Decent Wallet. The recent debacle that happened with the XRPL network affected some wallets where it opened up a back door. It did not affect the Decent Wallet. The Decent Wallet is a very safe wallet. It's one of the safest, if not the safest, with the air gap technology and the fact that you have to couple the device with your phone and have a seed phrase that has multiple layers of security. Your assets will be safe. Go ahead and pick you one up. Tap the link that you see appearing at the top and go ahead and pick yourself one up. Thank you for looking at that. We appreciate it. It helps support our channels. It's not why we do this, but it sure does encourage us. Just like hitting the like and subscribe. If you at any time during this video are, we're tickling your fancy in some kind of a way, hit that thumbs up for us. We sure do appreciate it. Max, this is a pretty cool piece that you've pulled together for us. Let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, and before we do, again, I just want to give a shout out to our brother in community, Smoke. A lot of you guys are on X. Some of you guys aren't, but if you are on X, he is the go-to source. I consider him part of the Mount Rushmore of the best researchers out there. So what does he have? Well, he has something brand new for you guys. Sometimes you guys like a little bit of the new instead of some of the old research or the deep dives and so on. So hopefully this is something that appeases to you. So let's pull this up. Smoke has this, and what is it all about? Well, he says the reminder. And what is the reminder? Well, he points out specifically, for the first time in history, digital assets give everyday people the opportunity to position themselves for generational wealth before institutions. He points out this, and again, this is originally from April 26th, but he posted this earlier today. He says, former eToro US CEO Lule Demisi, again, I realize I'm probably butchering this name up, says, quote, digital assets are the first asset class in history that the regular person entered before institutions. Listen closely. We're going to play this. We're going to get Will's thoughts here in a bit. And then we have a little segment about our little conversation as far as what we can reference as far as if this ever happened before. About a minute. We'll come right back. Here we go.
Value, right? So what's interesting about digital assets, you have to remember, is it's the first asset class in history in which the regular person entered before institutions did. That's why everybody's up in arms, right? Regular people, this was a retail individual person phenomenon before it became a Wall Street phenomenon. It's one of the first asset classes. I challenge you to find another asset class. So it totally upended the idea of what power looks like, what power structure looks like, how technology works. And so I don't want to lose that wisdom. That wisdom was really valuable, regardless of normalizing regulations, ingesting and digesting the sort of the bad actor issues. We should not lose that wisdom, that access to technology, to broad set of people is the way that you mitigate the evils that could reside in it.
So with that said, Will, the way I look at it is, think about that. Think about, for example, what she just mentioned. I think retail is, call it the flip, call it the pre-flip. How do we reference any of this? I think basically speaking, we already have it right on our nose. BTC was originally that retail plug. Retail came into that first before the institutions came into it all. We already know that. Then, if anything, back in 2022, 2023, give or take, we start seeing or hearing the rumors of potential future ETFs. We know about Cathie Woods. We know about the Michael Saylor's, MicroStrategies, and so on. So it was like, we're the beta testers, because you and I are into gaming, right? And they are the finished product to a sense, right? So again, let's test the waters as far as retail goes, see what happens. And then based on that, we will have a direct action. Is that a flip of the switch? I think it might very well be. Your thoughts, Mr. Will Fix?
Yeah, the other thing I thought about is when I first heard about Bitcoin, somebody explained it briefly to me. I completely dismissed it, but I do remember that it was some gamers. And so probably in addition to this being the first time a new asset class has been supported by retail investors first before institutions, also it was probably a majority of the nerds. Nerds unite. It was people who were computer savvy and people who were involved with new technology. It was probably more younger people than anybody right at the beginning, and it was a novel idea. And who knew, it was going to massively, who knew Bitcoin was going to go to, 107,000 and it's at what, 92, 93,000 right now, something. I would say, wouldn't you say the majority was probably nerdy people?
Yeah, I would say the majority was nerdy people. I think that's a fair way of looking at it. I mean, what about news groups and whatnot? You ever use news groups back in the day, or IRC? Remember all that old stuff?
Yeah, chat room.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you think about like the early stages of the internet, basically before Google was popularized. I mean, shoot, I remember there was a time before Google was the standard of itself. Instead of saying, hey, Google it, you just be like, I think I'll get on Yahoo, or remember Ask Jeeves and stuff. But even long before that, IRC, news groups, some of you guys are old school and you remember all these key things. So again, worth all pointing
Web
out.
1 technology too. It was all just static sites. There was no interaction. The chat room was the only interaction that you had.
Well, the bottom line is, Will, I think that's where we're at. I think moving forward, it's like Gilbert Verdian pointed this out, and this is not a quant video, but I always got to throw in a little bit of this. He says that if you look at Google, right, when they blasted off, which they did, they took the definition of data is the new oil and turbocharged that. So he states that era, right, your Web 1 to Web 2, that was the day of the Internet of Information, right? Google obviously stands out in that. You don't say, hey, go do a internet search. You say, hey, Google it. I think this next era, when we talk about Web 3, it's back to what he said. The Internet of Value, Internet of Trust, value. Well, value would be literally tokenized in the form of digital property, as pointed out by Michael Saylor, but all sorts of different forms. It could be transactions, your Ripple XRPs, your Stellar XLMs, you name it. It could be electronic bills of lading, your XDCs. It could be not even blockchain, right? Hedera with the hash graph. That's a consensus algorithm. So there's all sorts of different forms of this, but back to what that lady said from eToro, I think it has always started with us in retail. We are the alpha / beta testers. If anything, alpha stage was probably, right, 2008, 2009 with the original Bitcoin white paper. Then you go from beta which some people kind of still feel as though we might still be into that. Then they have the pilot test. Who does the pilot test? The institutions, your regulated liability networks, regulated settlement networks. Who are the participants? Your Ripples, your Quants, your Stellars, your Hedera's. What's the next part of this piece of the puzzle? It has to be regulations. Some of your closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, I agree. We're waiting on regulations. That's probably the biggest thing, and the end of the lawsuit. And then we're hopefully going to see XRP do something. It's kind of been disappointing through all this rough waters created by the tariffs, but I think we'll recover and do just fine. And it could work as a slingshot for XRP too, with all the other markets down and struggling. And once the people start seeing value going into XRP and it's responding well, if everything else is lagging behind, it could draw tons of money into XRP and really spike the price, kind of what I'm hoping on. But good piece.
It was a good piece. And with that also said, everybody could use a good piece once in a while. Oh, all right. With that said, we're going to move along. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully you listened to the end of the outline. And if you did, simply do us a solid if you, again, listen and type in this key phrase into the comments. And that is Revenge of the Nerds Crypto Alliance. And we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and the Brother Will Fix, know what you have, know why you hold it. The Research Trumps Flood 110%. We will see you on the next one.